Hmm. I'm thinking Pandaria has a lot of daily quests, as does Rat. Um, I'm not sure if I'll deal really with any Rat stuff, but I might be doing a number of silent grinds in this series of me popping in, doing my dailies, and logging off. Oh. I need earth roots to make um, I need earth roots to make a potion, the healing potion, and the healing potions need to make further healing potions to a point. So here it is. It's important. But yeah, I can really see why Blizzard broke down the all the professions into like expansion professions. So like you just like learn, Legion tailoring and you start doing Legion tailoring. Like I can see why they did it. Um, because otherwise you have to level up through everything, and that, as the game goes on, that will take longer and longer. And especially if they're selling boosts, it does render the boost kind of moot to a point, because now you're gonna have to go through those areas anyway for the professions, or you're going to have to, um, still buy stuff off the auction house like Netherweave for it, so. Or Ember Silk. So I see why they did it. I'm not really a fan on some levels still, but I see why they did it. It wasn't an entirely illogical choice of just Blizzard changing things because they can. Though I do dislike them making it so that only tailors can find quad. It was just nice to have some more, like, auction trash if you weren't a tailor. Auction fodder. Just an extra little chunk of cash you can't get now. And it boosts up the cost of all tailoring supplies. As if you want to go get Netherweave, you have to be a tailor to do it. And so now Netherweave bags have gone from being 8 gold to being like 120 or something. I have some retail footage floating around on my hard drive to show off. Not that it really did much. I completely misread the LFR, so I ended up missing out on doing the revamped Blackrock Depths that I wanted to do. Or maybe it just wasn't an option at the time. That traitor's gonna wish he never messed with Alliance Naval Command. Can't believe it. It was the gnome all along. Should have known. Spark, you must be brought to justice. I need you to go down to the beach and find that deceitful gnome. Once you find them, get whatever information you can out of him. If a high-ranking official of the Alliance has committed treasonous acts, who knows if my others are corrupt? Dezek, he's forced to be after. I'm a night elf, stranger. Well, you may know nothing of my kind. We know much of you and your progenitors. You may not call yourself Aradara, but in appearance, you share many similarities. You have helped my allies, and for that I am thankful. But for the time being, you walk a tenuous path. Perhaps in time you'll be able to dissolve the doubts and fears that I hold in my heart. Be praised. The rest of the spirits may find tranquility after all. You found something? I can't read these runes, but I know someone who can.
Go in peace.
She's gonna call out to him. Adamant, could you please take a look at this tablet and try to decipher the runes? Of course. Anything for you, darling. Alright, let me take a look at that tablet. Naga Warlord. Oh dear. A Naga invasion. Well, you aren't going to like what I have to tell you, young missy. This tablet is a Naga communication. Their leader, Warlord Sistris, has ordered his Naga to take the rest of the island by force. Looks like he's got reinforcements coming from Nazjatar. I've got to do something about this. Thank you, Adamant. I think I know just the person for the job. Naga invasion would be disastrous. I've seen what the Naga can do, and would not want to see such a catastrophe befall any being. If I were to guess, this warlord Sistris will be hidden in a cave, probably along the coast to the west. Find Warlord Sistris and put an end to his reign. Don't come back without some ancient relics. And Pappy will be proud. His boy strikes it big at the first set of Night Elven runes he comes across. With your help, of course. Yes, don't worry, I won't leave you out of your discovery. Your name is Dezek, right? They'll learn all about you in Ironforge.
See you soon.
May seem weird that the stuff is going to Ironforge and not their analysis as they are Elven relics, but the Ironforge actually has a museum. Their analysis doesn't. So, yeah. They actually have the facilities to care for them. Now, I'm going to be audacious here, and I'm against, not inherently, but I'm often against returning artifacts to places that they come from. IRL, like. Simply, like, very few places, like, say if you get an artifact from a place, the people in the place now may not be the same people who actually made the artifact. Or maybe they've undergone such a change that they want to destroy it. There's been many artifacts that have been broken. And that artifact is something someone made. Maybe they didn't care much about it in the making, but it is now the only, like, echo of that person. You know, it's a lingering 5 root, Jesus. It's a lingering thread to the, you know, world for that culture, for whoever made it. So to have it destroyed, it's kind of a final death in a way. This is a bit of poeticism on my part. Ooh, 3 silverleaf. So, yeah. It's... It's a terrible waste. remember hearing someone claiming that, you know, the Rosetta Stone was found in a scrap pile. Like it was like just like random rocks going to be used like for foundations or something. I can't remember what it was, but it was like basically the Rosetta Stone, what turned out being a very important like artifact. It was very much not being well treated by the locals. It was actually like one of Napoleon's men that actually, you know, realized its worth. So, yeah. Basically, I agree very much so with, you know, it belongs in a museum. Yeah, so. There's also been cases of, like, I remember hearing tales coming from, I'm not sure what what exact region of the world it was, but like archaeologists dying, like hiding relics, so people looking to destroy them because these relics are from different cultures and they want to supplant them, and so they need to destroy them. Archaeologists hid relics because people were you know, trying to find them to break them. The people wanted to like supplant the culture and whatnot. So archaeologists literally went to their graves to hide the relics from these people. So personally, I do feel there's like a duty of care to artifacts. You know, that's the stance I take. It's relics, echoes of history. You know, having them be destroyed and permanently lost is honestly painful to me. So, this is just me talking as like a history buff. I like history. It was one of my favorite classes in school. Same with classics. Half of that was history. Other half was like mythology and whatnot. But half of that was history, and yeah. So the idea of history being lost, deleted, is just painful to me. That being said, the amount of history that we know is that's probably false is equally painful to me. If you don't know what I mean, is well, the victor writes the history books. Oh, so and so was so evil and terrible. Yeah, well, were they? By our standards nowadays, probably, but probably no more than the victor who wrote it. So, or hell, they could have been an exact replica of us nowadays. Very, very futuristic. You know, we don't know. The history books are, well, they're wrote by people, so liable to be quite biased. So, that realization is also quite painful to me. But yeah, just that's me just talking as a fan of history, and whatnot. The idea of it being lost permanently, or whatnot, is just painful to me. Aha! Found one. Examines the shell. Engineer spark overgrind. Examines shell. But yeah, it's just the idea of it being lost permanently is just like painful to me. I remember hearing about an Aztec temple that tourists were at, and for whatever reason they decided throwing trash at the walls was a great idea. And I guess the cans or bottles they were hucking at it damaged the delicate stonework. And we now forever lost that bit of Aztec myth, or Mayan myth. That cuts me up. So the idea of other relics and whatnot being just destroyed, ugh, that's honestly is painful.
Need assistance?
Can't you see I'm busy? It's over, Spark. The Audible knows it was you who betrayed the Alliance. Now you're either going to cooperate with me and tell me everything that you know, or we're going to engage in some fisticuff.
Off and away.
Engineer Spark Overgrind laughs. Does it frighten you to know that there are those who'd serve the Legion with such devotion as remain unwavering citizens of your pointless civilizations until called upon? Live in fear, die by the will of Celtas. That's all to say. Now, I cut you. Die. Oop, I can do that. Free up some space. This document is held together by an unusual seal. Traitors communication. Servant. Several years' worth of planning has been lost. The Draenei and their pitiful leader have escaped the Master's grasp once again. What's more, they've stolen my vessel and crashed upon Azeroth. While it is true that the Master's Eridar agent has failed, she was able to transmit the Exeter's location to us. Fortuitously, her identity is still a mystery to the Draenei. We still may be able to use her for our purposes. Contact her spy and prepare for a full-scale assault upon the Draenei. Kill them all and recover my vessel. You are the only link I have on Azeroth that is able to repair the damage the brutes inflicted upon the Exeter. Do not fail me, Gnome. Should your lust for riches interfere with my orders, you will spend eternity in prayer. You will pray for death to come and release you from the tortures I'll unleash upon you. I'll unleash, should you fall. Let me reread that. Do not fail me, Gnome. Should your lust for riches interfere with my orders, you will spend eternity in prayer. You'll pray for death to come and release you from the tortures I'll unleash should you falter. King Sunstrider. I'm going to read this once more for the cutout. Traitors communication. Servant. Several years' worth of planning has been lost. The Draenei and their pitiful leader have escaped the Master's grasp once again. What's more, they've stolen my vessel and crashed upon Azeroth. While it is true that the Master's Eridar agent has failed, she was able to transmit the Exeter's location to us. Fortuitously, her identity is still a mystery to the Draenei. We may still be able to use her for our purposes. Contact her spy and prepare for a full-scale assault upon the Draenei. Kill them all and recover my vessel. You are the only link I have on Azeroth that is able to repair the damage the brutes inflicted upon the Exeter. Do not fail me, Gnome. Should your lust for riches interfere with my orders, you'll spend eternity in prayer. You'll pray for death to come and release you from the tortures I'll unleash should you falter. King Sunstrider. Alright, take two. So we're gonna have a lore talk. Puzzled by this. So, I need to start at the beginning. Sargeras. Do we all know who he is? Just in case anyone doesn't, because I know some people don't actually listen to stories. Actually listen to the lore. Sargeras is a Titan. The Titans are these race of beings of order. They order planets, and they were generally depicted in a good light in older WoW lore, but in more recent stuff, they are depicted in more of a nebulous light. That it's kind of like SMT, you know, that basically any greater power is gun established in the backup one way or another, you know. It's kind of got that vibe going on. So, but anyway, that's neither here nor there right now. They had a champion called Sargeras. He was a warrior and powerful being, as any Titan would be, but focused towards martial pursuits. He went against the enemies of the Titans, bringing fire and steel against them, and he fought well. Imagine he was a one-man army. But even he has his limits. Psychological, spiritual limits. The corruptive energies of the demons he would fight against wore on him, physically, mentally, and spiritually, eventually corrupting him from within, turning him into the Dark Titan we know now. The Eridar were one such race, but that has since been changed in Burning Crusade. The Eridar became is the original name of the Draenei, and the Draenei are basically uncorrupted Eridar. The Eridar, instead of corrupting Sargeras, that was changed to them have been corrupted by Sargeras. Sargeras came upon the world and gave them an offer, and two of the racial leaders accepted. Velen refused and fled. Now, the other side of the war, where the term Draenei comes from Warcraft 3. In Frozen Throne, when you go to Draenor, you encounter the Draenei. And the Draenei there look like Lost Ones of modern WoW. Now, to explain the Lost Ones, you have... Well, to envision a family tree, you have Eridar. And then it splits here in Demon, and then it splits here from here to Draenei. So from Draenei, you have Broken. Which is kind of an offensive term, really, thinking about it. It's just like, yeah, you're broken. But, to be honest, that's a fair description. You see how I have face tentacles and a tail? A lot of Broken have back tentacles, as in them growing straight out of their spine. Broken are Draenei, who have been warped by dark magics. The exact specifications of it aren't made clear, but they were just afflicted in such a way that their body reshapes. One of them was actually a great paladin, but after being so afflicted, he could no longer draw upon the light. The light ignored him, but he instead found strength in the spirits, and was able to commune with them. But anyway, if a Broken is further afflicted by those dark energies, they degenerate further into a Lost One. The Lost Ones are basically just raving madmen, tribals. Like, they can form primitive societies, but they are basically hostile to everything else. Broken, Draenei, or Draenei as a whole, or, well, Draenei as a subgroup, or Broken as a subgroup, they're just hostile to them even. Like, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're hostile to other, like, Lost One tribes. Basically, they can have, I guess, some degree of family. They can maybe have some degree of friends, but they're hostile to everyone else. You can't diplomatize with them. I don't think there's any, like, upper brain function going on. So, the Draenei, as we know them now, are multiple retcons. They retconned the Eridar from being a corruptive force into being corrupted, and the Draenei, this being a splinter of them, the uncorrupted splinter. They land on Draenor. They flee again, leaving some behind, and those some become the ones met by Kael'thas and Illidan in Warcraft 3. And Akama's thing about them being the Draenei isn't wrong. They are Draenei. They're just one of the 3 types of Draenei. Like, not pure-blooded, but like unafflicted Draenei. Like, Daranor here. Sorry, Desik here. Broken, and then lost ones. So, they are a type of Draenei. And then Draenei flee Azeroth. The Exodar flees Azeroth. But this traitor's communication is from Kael'thas. So, what we've seen in Warcraft 3 is we don't see the main host of the Draenei. We just see a Kama and some of his guys. We just see a Kama and some of his guys, and they're already lost ones. Or they're already broken. Their model looks like the modern lost ones, but they're broken. That's how a Kama appears now, as a broken rather than a lost one. Or actually, does he appear more like a lost one? I think he actually looks like a lost one. Oh, fuck, can I be honest? I really don't remember. I haven't thought about this part of the lore in years. So anyway, in Warcraft 3, Kael'thas and Illidan meet the Draenei, led by a Kama. He's either depicted as a broken or as a lost one, but in modern WoW he's depicted as a broken, as far as I remember. So, and they're all you see of the Draenei. And given what I remember of the Draenei lore, the Draenei would have fled at this point. The orcs the orcs were initially peaceful when Draenei landed on the planet, and there was there'll be peace in our time. There was, a fine connection between the orcs and the Draenei. But then the Legion arrived. They got Gul'dan to introduce the demon blood to the rest of the orcs. And the orcs then set upon the Draenei. The Draenei fled the planet. And they fled to Azeroth. So, if that's the case, then how is Kael'thas involved in this? Because that would have had happened before he even landed on the planet. Akama and those left behind were just the stragglers. So, how did... why is Kael'thas so worked up over this when that had happened so many years ago? The only thing that I can understand that would make sense is if he's not talking about that attempt, but there was another attempt, basically the Draenei didn't flee directly to Azeroth. They fled Draenor, went to other places, and then crashed on Azeroth. So, because I was always of the perspective that the Draenei had fled before Kael'thas and Illidan turned up. They would have fled, before the closing of the Dark Portal. They would have been gone by the time before the orcs would have turned their attention to Azeroth. The orcs wouldn't have turned their attention to Azeroth before dealing with the Draenei, to have their own home front clear. So, this is either a retcon by trying to have Kael'thas involved in the scourging of the Draenei, or this is we're missing a bit of the story of there was previous before the Draenei made their way to Azeroth, they landed on other places first. So, I'm not sure what the lore is. I think that was coherent. Basically, I was talking about the background of the Draenei as a race here, and then I was saying about the lore. About my actual thing. The Draenei are a combination of two old war characters. The Draenei from Warcraft 3 and the Eredar. The Eredar were demons from the get-go before, but now they're corrupted into being demons, with the Draenei being a splinter of them. The Draenei of Warcraft 3 are then now been changed into still Draenei, but into Draenei that have been warped by dark magics. So it brings the Eredar, the two disconnected races together, and changes a comma from the natural state of what a Draenei is into an afflicted state. Because he never refers to himself as a broken Draenei, just as a Draenei in Warcraft 3. So the assumption would have been that's just how the Draenei look, rather than being uncorrupted Eredar. And so my understanding of the lore had always been that the Draenei had fled Draenor, possibly prior to Warcraft 1. Before, well, certainly before Warcraft 1, before the orcs would have turned their attention to Azeroth. So, how would Kael'thas be involved in the scourging of the Draenei if he turned up in Warcraft 3? He would have turned up, after years after the Second War. Sorry, I think I'm being attacked by a moth. It's mainly relevant because I have a cup here. Just take my headset off, so I have more free reign. I don't actually need it on since I'm using the desk mic. So yeah, my idea of the lore had been that the Draenei would have fled. Not completely, there was stragglers left behind. There's a dude at Aushagun that helped the Alliance soldiers that came over. As far as I remember, he was a Draenei. He could have been a Araka from all I remember. But prior to Warcraft 1, they would have fled Draenor and made their way to Azeroth. It took years. Azeroth was just next in line. But it's going by this. The only way to reconcile this and the other thing would have been that the Draenei settled down on another world before Azeroth, and Kael'thas came after it. And as far as I remember, he grabbed Tempest Keep and the other Netherstorm dungeons, but he wasn't able to grab Exodar, and they escaped in that. And then they crash landed on Azeroth. That's the only way I can reconcile it, was that he was able to siege and take those places from them, but he couldn't get Exodar before they escaped. But I've never heard of this extra world. So either I'm missing a bit of lore, and there was one, or this is them trying to retcon Kael'thas into being involved in the Scourging of the Draenei. Or the Scourging of the Draenei went on longer than I thought. So, I do dislike that the Eredar is just a skin in retail, because it shouldn't be a skin. The Eredar are corrupted Draenei. They're, they've been steeped in the Fel for years. Hundreds of years? Thousands of years? They've been steeped in the Fel before the Sundering on Azeroth. 10,000 years ago. 1, 2. It makes absolutely no sense for them to be a cosmetic option for a Draenei. Still having heroic presence and gifted Naru. No. They shouldn't be a cosmetic thing. They should be an allied race. They should be an allied race. That makes far more sense. For fuck's sake. They should be an allied race. Because they're Eredar. They've been steeped in Fel for 10,000 years. They've frolicked and fornicated with demons for how long? It doesn't make sense. Look at Lightforged Draenei. They're an allied race. The Eridar should be an allied race. The Lightforged Draenei have been steeped in the light. It's much akin to the Eridar, who are steeped in the Fel. You know? It makes no fucking sense. This just bugs me because it's... I just saw it pop up there and it's fucking stupid. And the reason it popped up was being auto-suggested red skin. Oh, okay, this is WoW's thing. Yeah, it just says, fleeing the mysterious... fleeing the ruined world of Outland, the shattered remains of the planet once known as Draenor, the mysterious Draenei crash-landed on Azeroth. So yeah, they just fled, as far as I can gather, straight from Azeroth to... straight from Draenor to Azeroth. And... so I'm not sure how Kael'thas is tied in with this. Oh, okay, so... for centuries, the Draenei lived in relative peace with Draenor's native orcs, until this is according to the wiki, until agents of the Burning Legion found them. As the orcs were corrupted by the Legion and formed the original Horde, the Draenei were slaughtered en masse and driven into hiding. Decades later, the survivors managed to escape the ravaged world of Outland aboard the Exodar, a vessel of the narrow fortress Tempest Keep, but crashed upon Azeroth. So... okay, I didn't know about the driven into hiding bit first. So that explains how Kael'thas got involved. I thought they were able to abscond, you know, with actual haste. But yeah, I suppose that does make sense. The Path of Honor in Hellfire Peninsula. There's a lot of dead there. Them being, having this situation going on for decades. And then the mass genocide would, explain it quite well. But yeah, I don't know why they had to, oh, apparently, after burning a Teldrassil, some Night Elf survivors were evacuated to Azure Mist. Didn't realize that. Also haven't heard anything about the Lightbound since. Like, with that whole thing going on, I thought that was gonna play more of a, you know, part. So yeah, when I heard about this, I was kind of expecting more to come of it, the Lightbound, but no. But so yeah, there's the answer. The Draenei actually had to hide out on Draenor for decades before getting to flee. Then they ended up on Azeroth. So that explains how Kael'thas got involved. Because I didn't know about the, like... I knew they fled, but I never heard the decades part. So when I read that bit there, I was thinking that, like, okay, either Kael'thas followed the Draenei and failed to capture them, failed to fully succeed. He, like, took some of the Nara Fortress from them, but not the Exodar. Or this is, like, a weird retcon. But, or, like, this is just a weird bit of writing. But no, it's fun. I suppose the Draenei were driven down to such a point that the orcs were fine with moving on. Plus, the orcs were just, driven by bloodlust and the demons, so... I don't think either of them are exactly methodical, you know?
Well met. Light bless you.
Did you find the lying dog?
Be careful.
Incredible. It's all part of their master plan. This information must reach the king and your own leaders. The implications are staggering. Since since this is this is Cata, don't have to worry about weapon skills. I'm like a master at everything that a paladin can use.
For the Alliance. King's honor, friend.
Lucky to have survived this ordeal. If it wasn't for you, everyone on this island could have been killed.
Light bless you.
You must get this information to your people, Desik. All your brave acts have suddenly slowed the plans of Kael'thas and his Dark Master. The attacks will undoubtedly continue. Take the traitor's communication to your leaders. They must see this for themselves. Perhaps they'll be able to better understand some of what was written.
I am honored. The Shah.
With Warlord Sristis dead, the possibility of an Ag invasion is now only a distant memory. We're safe for the time being. I must admit, I was wrong to think badly of you, Desik, showing that you're nothing like the filth that was Archimond. Except this is a gift from Night Elves. Yes, I killed people. For good. A bit of wholesome bloodshed. And he's alive again. So yeah, the long story short of everything I said there was, Eridar once started off as demons, but then got changed to have been corrupted into them, with the Draenei being a splinter group. They landed on Draenor, where things were fine till they weren't, and turns out they had to go into hiding for decades before getting an opening to flee. The Draenei that were caught by the dark magics of the orcs were corrupted and like degenerated into broken Draenei and lost ones. And the broken were the ones that Kael'thas and Illidan worked with, like the broken of the broken of Akama's tribe were the ones that they worked with against Manaroth. It was Manaroth, yeah. Whatever was the pit lord you fought in Hellfire. I don't think it's Manaroth. I don't remember. But yeah, the Draenei the Draenei as a whole had to. They landed on Draenor. Things were fine until they weren't. Then, when they weren't, they had to go into hiding until they got a chance to flee. The Draenei that were working with Kael'thas and Illidan were Akama's broken. Sometime after that was when, I guess, Illidan tried to, the Draenei fled. And sometime after the events of Frozen Throne was when the Draenei fled in the Exodar. So, yeah. In the bit I'd seen, they never mentioned that time delay of hiding out for decades. It was always, shit went down with the orcs, they fled. There was never that time delay. So it always felt, so, it always felt like then B. Not A 30, 40 years, then B. It always felt a quick thing. So, yeah. There's reasons for it being delayed. I get that. Maybe they had to do repairs to the Exodar. Maybe they had to do this or that, or get things in position. Or maybe they were just simply so harried by the orcs that didn't have an opening to escape. But yeah. But yeah. So the Eridar being changed there as a retcon, and then the Draenei of Warcraft 3 being changed is also a retcon. I like the Draenei we have, though, so they at least did something useful with messing with the story. I like my blue goat people. So at least they did something useful with the retcon. I think I'm coherent. I really do feel like I messed up in what I was trying to explain there. That's why I tried saying it again, but I'm just gonna keep looping, so I'm just gonna stop.
Try the light and praise you. Be kind.
The Naru have not forgotten us.
One, two.
Dionys
You have
Akar.
returned.
Remember the lessons of the
Exarch
past.
Menelaus takes the letter from you and begins to read it. Convenient that he can read it. Damn them. Damn them all to the nether. They've had a spy watching everything that we've done. For how long? I'll notify Valen at once. Done us a great service, Tezek. Be on guard, as I'll be contacting you once the Prophet has given me instruction as to what to do.
Blessings upon your family.
Still pine hold. Up, and away. This doesn't get a flight path, does it? Be surprised if it did. Look directly above. That's a Severtoran head that's hanging there. The functions of dream capture? Ew. Think maybe those are all different things we have to take pictures of? Wait, they mentioned the selfie. That only gets introduced in, Hold on, I need to check. I think this isn't something that we can actually do right now. A path less traveled. Parented mod, WoW stuff with lots of fun and quirky tidbits, Easter eggs, pop culture references, and jokes. Come explore with me as we go to far-flung places in search of weird, wonderful, and hopefully put a smile on your face. Oh, okay, this is just like note, like things they felt were of note, rather than anything grander. Okay, we can hold on to those stuff. Let me just go get Gorik. I'm realizing now the issue and call my character Desic if I'm going to continue playing with people from my Grey Parsers. Then again, they have all plenty of alts, and they know who's who. They can get used to associating Desic with Gorik. Then they can go watch my Dark Souls 1 and 2 series. And then when I get around to making another character and call him Daranor, they can go watch Dark Souls 3. Okay, there's actually one of these here. Torrent Trophy. Oh, another one of those. Okay. Graphical glitch there? Jesus. You're not as peaceful as you try to make yourselves out to be. Oh, and there's another one right here. It is you who defend my people and usher in a new era of prosperity for Stillpine. For centuries we lived in relative peace with the creatures of the land. Several months ago, Kurus began to see dark omens. 1, 2. The peace that we enjoyed for so long was to be lost. The extent of the catastrophe could not be known. So it would be that the gods would shatter our land, turning both friend and foe against us. But there was something else. Amidst the chaos, a hero would rise, a hero not of Stillpine blood. The promised one would deliver us from devastation. That prophesized hero was you.